Vicky, welcome back to my channel. In this video I'm going to show you how I made this little jacket with exaggerated shoulders to go with Jazida's corset body. You can use any jacket or bolero pattern to do this with. I'm just using my favourite bolero pattern that I had. Bolero, depending on where you're from. And I'll show you how I changed the pattern to extend the shoulder outwards and upwards and how I've made it stay like that as well. To make my pattern for this jacket with the pointy shoulders, I've just drawn a copy of my regular little jacket pattern. I'm using a size 10 as my starting point. So this is my original shoulder. So that's the shoulder seam and the back of the armhole and the shoulder seam and the front. So what I've done on the front and the back is I've raised the shoulder up and out about 3 centimeters. So you can see, instead of sloping and sitting on the shoulder, this is a high neck, that's the curve there. So you can see, instead of sitting on the shoulder, it's going to curve upwards and extend out beyond the edge of your natural shoulder. So that's how my front and my back look. And this is my sleeve pattern. So because we haven't extended the armhole at the bottom, I haven't added any extra fabric. But I've extended it so we've got more coming up through to the top of the sleeve and then back down, and the same as it was once we get to the bottom here. So what I'm going to do next is just make up a quick calico toile to try on Jazida, and I'm going to cut 1/2 the original pattern and 1/2 the new pattern with the extended shoulder and the longer sleeve. So this is how my toile looks made up, and I've done a fitting on Jazida. So this is the original shoulder that sits flat against her shoulder, and that was absolutely fine. And this side is my pointy shoulder. So you can see, once I lift that up, you can see how much it lifts up there. And my sleeve, there's too much ease and too much extra length at the top. So I actually need to lose this much at the top of the sleeve to get it to sit really neatly, because we want it to be really smooth. I don't want any puff or gathers at the top. So that's that side. And then the sleeve was too big, so we've actually brought the sleeve in quite a lot, and we've decided that we're going to do the sleeve into a point at the end. So now I've done a fitting and all of the changes to the shoulder and the sleeve are marked, I can take this apart and use this to make my pattern. Here's how the changes to the sleeve look marked on my original pattern. So we still need to extend the sleeve at the top, but not nearly as much as I'd done it for the toile. So that was my original line of where I'd extended it, and this is my new line. So that's what the sleeve on the pointy side will look like. And then I've also marked the changes where we've taken off some from the seam and we've cut the point at the bottom, and I've added the seam allowance onto the point. Next I'm going to cut and sew and press my lining just as we would normally. So for this jacket, the outside back is going to be cut on a fold, but the lining I'm going to cut a seam, because I need to then leave that centre back seam open to be able to turn the jacket through when we join all the edges, and so I can pull the cuffs through to hem them as well. So I'm going to go ahead and cut 2 pieces of all of these in black satin and join them, and the lining will have the original lines of the shoulders and the original line of the top of the sleeve. So this is the lining for the little jacket all together now with the sleeves in, using the original pattern that sits neatly on the shoulders. So that's the front. I've just put a line of stitching around both fronts just to stop this curve stretching. And this is the back. So I've just overlocked the centre back seam and along the bottom because they were fraying quite a lot. And you can see that this lining has a centre back seam, which I've currently left open so I can turn it through when I join the edges and to finish the sleeves off. But I've pressed it, which makes it a little bit easier to sew up at the end. I've also already sewn my brand label in. And this is giving me a good idea how it's going to sit with the corset body as well when Jazida wears it. So you're still going to see some of the purple and the iridescent sequins at the top there when it's together. And you're still going to see a good amount of this. Remember, we're going to lose the seam allowance from there yet as well. So it's going to sit really beautifully with that. Next, I'm going to cut the black sequin fabric that's going to be the outside layer. And I'm going to use the front and back panels with the extended shoulder, the sleeves with the slight extension to the length. And at the back, I'm going to cut it on the fold so there won't be this centre back seam there. I've now cut out all the sequin pieces for the outside of the jacket. And to make the shoulders stand up, I'm going to be using some toy stuffing. And because this is white and the sequin fabric is a little bit see-through, I've just tacked some of the same black satin as I've used for the lining to the top of the back, the fronts, and to the top of the sleeves as well. So when I put the stuffing in, it won't show through. So next I'm going to stitch the fronts and backs and shoulders together and put the sleeves in. So the outside of my jacket is all together now and I've got the sleeves in. So the next thing I want to do is put some stuffing in the shoulders to help support that little point at the end. And then I'm just going to hand stitch a bit of black satin to the inside to hold the stuffing in place when it's in. It kind of just needs to go in there like that. And try and get a matching ball for the other shoulder. Definitely giving it some structure. So I'm going to put that on the mannequin now and see how it looks. So here's the jacket back on the mannequin. This is the shoulder that I've just put the stuffing in, and you can see it's definitely giving it a great bit of support. And this is the pointy shoulder the other side with nothing in it. It's quite floppy. So I think it's definitely going to work. I just need to, it looks a bit blobby at the minute. I just need to sort of thin the edges out a little bit just to make it less lumpy. But that's definitely going to work. So I'm going to do that, try and get both shoulders evenly, and then stitch the black satin inside it just to hold it all into place. Next, I've made the appliques that are going to go on the shoulders and on the bottom of the sleeves of the jacket. And I've used the purple sequin fabric and the appliques, which are the same ones that I'm using on the corset body. Because the purple sequin fabric came on a purple mesh backing, not black, I've actually just painted it with black fabric paint. And then I've stitched on this beautiful lace. So that's the two that are going to go on the bottom of the sleeves. And this is the pair that's going to go on the shoulders. Jazida found this beautiful sequin purple lace in a market in Cambodia, I think she said. So I can't link to where you can buy more of that, but I will put a link in the description to where you can buy this purple sequin fabric. I just find it easier to make and crystal these and then sew them onto the jacket than trying to stitch them in pieces and then add the crystals once it's on the curve of the jacket. It's easier to do flat. So next I'm going to use these beautiful, these are Champagne AB flat back crystals. And I've also got black crystals. I'm going to put the crystals on with E6000 Fabrifuge and a pair of tweezers. This is how the finished appliques look with all the crystals on. So this is the pair for the cuffs and this is the pair for the shoulders. I now have the padding sewn into both shoulders. So on the inside it looks like this with the bit of fabric just holding it in place on both of them. And then on the outside I've sewn both of the shoulder pieces on already, apart from just this little bit which is a bit near the edge of the seam allowance, which I'll just catch down later. Next I'm going to pin the outside of the jacket and the lining together, right sides together. Then I'm going to stitch all the way around the edge and then turn them in the right way through the gap that we left in the lining. Now the edge is sewn, I've clipped my curves, and now all we do is pull it so the inside is on the inside and the outside is on the outside by pulling it through the gap we left in the centre back seam. Poke the sleeves into the sleeves. Then I can pin and press around the edge to get it sitting nicely and just catch that last bit of the applique down. Next we're going to finish the sleeves. So I've already done this one. And how we're going to do that is by turning them in through the centre back opening as well. This bit can get a bit confusing. So what I do is I kind of match up the seams of the sleeve and just turn them in and pop a pin through. Then I go to the centre back seam opening, put my hand in and then go between the layers of the sleeve and then grab that pin and pull that up through the opening. Then what you need to do is kind of hold on to those two seams that are right sides together, take the pin out, and then pin all the way around the sleeve, pinning it, the rest of it right sides together as well. And to do this, you kind of need to poke the end of one into the other one, because they're like this at the minute. So if I match up the points next, and then sort of twist it through on itself and pin the other side. It's a little bit awkward, especially when they're this small. Next I'm going to stitch this together, right sides together as we got it pinned. Then I'll clip the curve and put some clips in around here as well. So here's our finished jacket with all the appliques sewn on, all the sparkles to match the corset body. There's no shoulders on this mannequin, but you can sort of see how much the shoulders are standing up just by themselves without an actual shoulder in there. So we've got that great exaggerated shape. It's quite 80s, which I love, and it's kind of 80s punk showgirl, I think, but this outfit by the time we get it all together. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you found it helpful. You can take the technique I used to make the shoulders as big or as exaggerated as you'd like to. You can make them even pointier at the top by making your sleeve pointier as well. It's really versatile, and yeah, like I said at the start, you can use any jacket to begin with and change up. So have fun sewing and have fun experimenting, and I'll see you in the next video.